everyone. My last video triggered another flat earther. He said a lot of nonsensical things, so I thought I would do a quick response on what he was saying. So the very first comment was him accusing me of begging the question. In informal logic, begging the question is when the premise assumes the conclusion. He says that I begged the question because I said that the North Star sits above the Northern Hemisphere's axis of rotation. For one, I'm not really making an argument here. I'm just giving the definition of what the North Star is. On top of that, an exception to begging the question is when you are referencing something that is generally already accepted. In my other video, when I gave a brief explanation of the structure of an argument, I used a common example of humans being mortal. This is something that is generally accepted. It is not fallacious. I explained this to him. He basically just ignored it and gish galloped on to saying that he knows what the globe model is and that I need to prove it. No, I don't need to prove every aspect of the globe model, at least not in this scenario. I am doing a debunk video related to a specific claim made by a flat earther. I'm using established facts to debunk that claim. And the guy is in no way responding to my debunk as a whole. He's cherry-picking what I say and scrutinizing it under far stricter standards than he did to Queen's video. In fact, she is the one who begged the question. And in no way did she prove her claim, which flies in the face of established facts. He then went on to send me a bunch of links to this guy's YouTube channel with really bad music, who thinks that he has proven that the earth is flat because he does these experiments where he'll use his camera and you'll see objects that are supposedly too far away to be able to see them. I didn't watch all the videos. I did go through one of them, and as I predicted, he does what a lot of flat earthers do, and he did not take refraction into account. Refraction is bending of light caused by the light bouncing off the medium, which in our case is the atmosphere. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen in certain situations. It's not uncommon. And if you were in a scenario where you could see something that's farther away and maybe you came back the next day, you wouldn't be able to see it, or you would see less of it depending on what the refraction is. And this is why flat earthers don't continue their experiment. They just find what they're looking for and then they post it and they don't talk about anything else. There are situations where you can go and see cities over a lake that you shouldn't be able to see, at least the amount that you're seeing. But if you look very carefully, you'll always see that some of the buildings are distorted, they're too tall, they're too short. Obviously, this is not what you would normally see. It's all because of refraction. So next, another person posted a comment where they said that they would like a flat earther to provide a singular model that explains everything. As you can see in his responses, he does talk about maps, globes, and models, and then goes on to say that the globe is the flat earth model, which in and of itself is very ridiculous. He thinks because a sextant is used against the horizon that it somehow proves the earth is flat. A sextant is used to find the latitude by measuring the angle between a known celestial object and the horizon. If the North Star is 25 degrees above the horizon, then you know that you're on the 25th parallel. If he believes that sextants are accurate, which I assume he does since he's using that as evidence to support his flat earth claim, then he must acknowledge that the distance between each line of latitude has to be the same. The problem is that on a flat earth, that wouldn't happen. The distance between each degree would be variable. As you got closer to, say, Polaris, it would shrink in distance between each line. Contrary to what he claims, sextants actually falsify the flat earth model. So in his next group of comments, he talks about how we don't always take into account curvature and rotation, and how we don't see the ground rotating underneath anything in the air. We don't see anything moving in the air because the air is moving with us. We're all part of that system rotating together. In fact, a lot of the air's movement is caused by the Coriolis effect, which is caused by the Earth's rotation. And yes, Pretending that we are a stationary, flat surface is sometimes the practical thing to do. This in no way proves the flat Earth. We use Newton's equation despite Newtonian gravity being supplanted by relativity. This does not disprove relativity. That's how science works. He then specifically references how NASA will sometimes use flat Earth models. Then he says that he could, not couldn't, care less about what NASA has to say. You can't make this up. And yes, there are times where NASA simply ignores Earth's curvature and rotation. But there are times where they do take those things into account. Why do you think most satellites and ships travel from east to west? It saves fuel by launching in the direction of momentum of the Earth's rotation. So if you're exactly at the equator and you're spinning at approximately 1,000 miles per hour, and you have to achieve a speed of 18,000 miles per hour for your orbit, you will launch at 1,000 miles per hour and you've only got to use enough fuel to get up to 17,000 miles per hour. If you go the other direction, then you have to use enough fuel to accelerate to 19,000 miles per hour. There are examples of both on this. Using flat Earth mechanics, whatever you want to call it, ignoring curvature, ignoring movement, does not prove the flat Earth. This guy is extremely intellectually dishonest. He then goes on to quote a couple of articles thinking that they, again, prove that the Earth is flat. One of them's from Topper, one of them's from USA Today. This one was hilarious to me. It's actually what drove me to respond. The Topper article was literally just explaining the differences between a map and a globe when you would use one over the other. It says many other things beyond this, like how globes represent the entire planet, where navigation maps are smaller areas and therefore contain more data, which again makes perfect sense. But that's not all. We can top that. The USA Today article was actually a fact check that they ruled false. The claim: NASA admits the Earth is flat and non-rotating. The verdict, which contains his quote, but this is it in its entirety: NASA has consistently said the Earth is a round, rotating globe, and the documents referenced here don't prove otherwise. The flat, non-rotating Earth model is a common technique used to generalize mathematical equations, experts said. This guy, he is a liar at this point. So he quoted that. He has to have known where it came from. And he got the quote perfect. So either somebody provided to him and didn't explain where it came from, which is a weakness on his part because you should have researched it, or he is intentionally lying. So like most flat earthers, this guy, he just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand basic concepts. But as you can see, he's calling me a moron all over the place. He thinks he's far smarter than he is. And I just, I already did one response. I figured why not do another. Again, I did this pretty quick, so I know it's not great. I can't even see what I'm actually recording, so I hope this comes out pretty decently. But if you have any feedback, just let me know. Like I said, I might continue doing some of these, and peace.